Okay, that's the global market action. Not looking so good as of now, but how will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have a research team joining in bright and early to tell us just that, the trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, let me come across to you first. Looks like another a weak start, or SGX Nifty for now is indicating a positive start.
Well, absolutely right. It seems like a mixed, very choppy trading session ahead of us. But first, let's have a look at, how the global markets panned out. Like you've been mentioning, the U.S. markets were the ones that actually have been quite weak. They continued their weakness and the down trading as far as the fifth continuous trading session was concerned. And in fact, S&P 500 yesterday closed at the lowest level of 2022. In what is even more disappointing is the fact is that the Dow Jones actually ended lower 20% from its recent record high, which technically puts it into bear market territory. And this is something, again, both on a technical as well as a fundamental level, actually is poking quite a bit of fear. Now, when you're talking about the dollar index continues its strength, hit the intraday high of almost the highest level seen since 2002. And this, again, is something that has actually spooked the currency traders. On the other hand, you're talking about the European markets, like you mentioned, ended choppy, mostly lower, but some green across the screen as far as Europe was concerned. But, what was continuing to see quite a bit of decline was the fact that the UK sterling slumped to a fresh record low against the dollar. The Treasury, the US 10-year Treasury yield, hit, a 12-year high yesterday in the trading session. But on the positive side, as far as India is concerned, crude prices continued their decline, and Brent actually fell below the $85 per barrel. Now, when you're coming to the Asian markets, marginally positive start seen in today's trading session. It's quite mixed, but when you're talking about SGX Nifty, a slightly mild positive start seen as far as the Indian markets are concerned. Yesterday's trading session was extremely weak as far as India was concerned. Nifty, in fact, dipped below the crucial 17,000 level before making a marginal recovery. The FII sell figure was very high, over 5,000 crores sold in the session. So it'll be interesting to see how today's trading session pans out.
Oh, yes, it will be. Vivek, thank you so much for all those cues. And now Surbhi is joining us. We'll list out all the stocks that will be in focus today. Hey, Surbhi, good morning.
I have a few stocks on my radar today. The first one is Mahindra Logistics. The company has entered into a business transfer agreement with Rivigo Services Private Limited for its B2B express business. The company will acquire this business for 225 crores. Next is Amara Raja Batteries. The company will merge the plastic component arm of Mangal Industries Limited with itself. This transaction will simplify the business operations by backward integration of supply chain and bringing in plastic molding capabilities in-house. The shareholders of Mangal Industries will receive 65 shares of Amara Raja for every 74 held. The next is Filatex. The company has successfully commissioned debottlenecking of its melt capacity and manufacturing lines at their Dahej plant. Lastly, Hindustan Construction Company completes its debt resolution plan. This will reduce the debt on HCC's books to 3,575 crores and will save on 400 crores on interest payments annually.
All right, Surbhi, thank you so much for talking about all those stocks that will be in focus today. Let's talk about the F&O space now. Nigel is joining us. Hey, Nigel.
Morning, Sonal. Clearly the FI is selling something that's worrying the Indian markets. And the last few days, they've been selling big time. Yesterday was more than 5,000 crores. You need to put into context. Look at the FI selling and the DI buying together. And the last three trading sessions, well, the net institution sell number has been nearly around 1,500 to around 2,000 crores, and that's clearly hurting. On the FI bit, well, they're net sellers for the month of September, as we mentioned yesterday, as well as close to around $1 billion odd. And the last time we saw such a large sell number from the FIs in a single session was in mid-June, the June 17 to be precise, when they sold $1 billion in a single session. So the FI selling clearly is a bit of a worry. What did the FIs do in the F&O market? Well, yesterday, they added some mild long positions and they covered some shorts. I'll be tracking this data very, very closely because they're net short on the markets. Yesterday, the bulls were putting in a fight around that 200 DMA or so. So close to 77% of their positions are on the short side. The problem is the bounces are likely to get sold into. And I'll tell you why. Look at the way they're writing options, call options to be precise. Yesterday as well, there was close to around, three calls that were written for every one put. And that's clearly putting a lot of pressure. And what was active yesterday? 17,200, 17,100 call odd. So a visit towards those levels are likely to be met with some supply pressure. the PCR is getting towards that zone where we normally see a bit of a bounce. It's now below that 0.7 odd. Remember, the lower end of the range is in this vicinity of around 0.6 to around 0.7. And yesterday, the 17,000 put as well was fairly active in trade. So what are the levels you're looking at? The 200 DMA and the 100 DMA, both of them very, very crucial zones. So that 16,700 to around that 16,900 zone. I'll tell you what, the bulls will really be hoping that they can defend that mark. The SGX Nifty is suggesting a big gap up. I think buying on the gap up may not be such a wise thing. But if you're getting an intraday dip and if you're brave enough, like yesterday we saw the bulls putting in a fight at around that 16,990 odd mark, maybe 16,950 to around 17,000, putting in a fight there, risk reward could be favorable only if you're brave. And a couple of stocks that came out of the FNO ban where they should be in focus as well. The list comes up for you on the screen. Back to you guys.
Okay, Nigel, Surbhi and Vivek, thank you so much for joining us and prepping us up for this crucial trading day ahead. Let's spin to a break now. Up next, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says the rupee is holding out well even as peer currencies collapse. We get to her comments on